Joining us now is Coach Lesley. Questions for Coach? Cody Nesper, go ahead.
Hi, Jordan. I just wanted to ask you about Taj and Van Darius. Obviously two guys that have suffered some injuries the last 2 years, and just what have they been through the last year and a half or so, and what have their attitudes been like?
The attitude's been great. They've been through a lot. Coming, starting with Van Darius. We get here last spring, show some promise, and get through the summer season, and has a knee injury, and then really, with COVID and going into this year a little different, but he's healthy and he's ready, and then Oklahoma State happens again. Feel for the guy, but he's done a great job getting back. Did some good things Saturday. Taj is really kind of amazing. Last game he played was Missouri last year. I think it was first quarter, maybe second quarter, or first half. I know. And then what he has, how he's handled his business to get back to this point, with the injury that he had, is says a lot about Taj. And so he had some rust Saturday, but it was definitely in the game plan with what we were trying to do, and did a good job.
Go ahead, Kevin Kinder.
Neil mentioned the difficulty that some of the defensive linemen had with the bigger, longer offensive linemen. And obviously, with their longer arm span and length, it makes it easier for them to lock out. So for your guys, what are the keys to breaking that contact, getting their arms unlocked and getting pressure against, those linemen that have that reach advantage?
Well, you have to make contact first. You have to play inside of that. Your leverage is the number one thing. And then your hands have just got to be, we talk about it with our guys. That's the most physical, violent part of playing a defensive lineman that you have to do is your hands. And so, length is length, and there's an advantage there, but there's also what you decide to do with your strength. How do you use your strength? When our strength is explosiveness, power and leverage. And so, we got to get off blocks, but we didn't do Saturday. So it's really a choice more than anything.
Ryan Pritt.
Hey, Jordan, Neil mentioned the lack of tackles for loss on Saturday. I think it was 58.5 before Saturday, and I think you had 2 on Saturday, which is obviously really uncharacteristic. I'm sure you looked at the game now on film. What do you attribute it to? Was it a lack of aggression on your guys' part? Was it something they were doing? Was it schematic? Was it a mix of all three?
We just didn't play well, and that's, my job is to get guys motivated and ready to play. And first and foremost, I failed because we didn't. So, that's the number one thing. Schematically, they do a really good job with what they do. They create a number of different surfaces. A lot of people change, the split of their offensive linemen in the same scheme that they normally run against us because of what we do. But there's no reason not to play our game, and we just didn't play well. We weren't ready to play, and for whatever reason is, it's ultimately on me. So I've got to do a better job than that, because that was not good enough. And so it really wasn't anything they did other than block us. That's what they did, and we got to be better.
John Antonik.
I have 2 different type questions. Number one, I asked Jared this, I'll ask you this. You guys had a plan up until Wednesday for Oklahoma, and then you had to discard that and move on to Iowa State. Do you go back and you pick that plan up where you left off, or does what Iowa State did in that game and the way you guys perform maybe impact and tweak it a little bit as you move forward now?
No, not really. I mean, if Oklahoma made some wholesale changes to their offense and we thought we needed to tweak some things, then yeah. But from what I've seen, it's not just any wholesale difference in what they were and how they were playing up to that point. So for me, the game plan is they're still the same Oklahoma team that we saw on tape, and that's the one we're going to prepare for.
The second thing here is you've been with Neil now for a while, and he's got kind of a track record of rallying his guys. And I think back to last year when you played poorly against Missouri, and then he came back and you guys played lights out against NC State. What is it about him that's able to rally guys and get him to bounce back after you're playing a poor game?
Well, I mean, we invest a lot into this, and when you invest a lot, if you invest a lot, when it doesn't go your way, then it, you know, then everybody that is invested kind of looks at it and goes, well, wait a minute, now that's not why we did that. That's not why we invested that much. And if you have that, if you have pride in what you're doing, then you always respond. And not everything's going to go your way. Just because you invest and you prepare, that doesn't guarantee you success. All right. But to me, what it guarantees is that, hey, it is if it doesn't go your way, that it means something to get it back right. And I think, you know, our kids coming in this week, I think that's, you know, that's where we are. And Coach Brown's always had a ability to do that. But it goes back to where you started. You know, you don't do all of this to go on the field and perform that way. But you know, when it does happen, unless you want to stay in that spot, then you have to either realize that your investment wasn't what it needed to be, or that you got to invest more, or you got to change how you're investing. But you don't just, you know, stop. And our guys aren't going to. I mean, we put a lot into it, and they want to get a lot out of it. So we just got to reload.
Curious, as a coach, how do you channel that? How do you channel your guys and get them, I guess, rebooted?
Well, I mean, you look at it and you go, hey, let's really watch this tape. And is this, you know, for 8 games, this is what we saw in ourselves. All right, this is how we saw ourselves play. This is how we played Saturday. Now, let's all look at it and say, is this what we want to be? Is this what we are? And then the overwhelming answer with our guys defensively is no. And so, you know, they're as disappointed as I am, and they have pride in how we've played. Not necessarily. It's not even about the wins and losses. You know, it's about how we played the game. And so, you know, they look at it, and it's really easy for me to channel it because they channel it themselves. And so I really don't have to do that with these guys. They know, you know, they understand, and they're not happy about it. So you just got to get to the next opportunity to make it right.
Mike Kazaza.
Hey, Jordan, what's up?
Hey, Mike.
You mentioned not being able to play. I think that's something that observers look at sometimes, and they throw that accusation out with no way to know. A coach knows. How can you tell? How quickly can you tell? And then in the course of the game, like, there didn't seem to be an adjustment for that. Like, you can change coverages or fronts if you're getting beat on a play or a gimmick or whatever, but getting off blocks, finishing tackles, that just seems to be something that's hard to coach out of in midstream. Is that accurate?
Well, you got to have a play. You got to have something that ignites your team, your unit, whatever it is. You just got to have a play. And the guys that are really good players, and we've got a bunch of them, you know, when they see another guy make a play, they want to make a play. All right, and so somebody's got to be, you know, whether it's whatever analogy you want to use, match around gasoline, whatever it is, somebody's got to be the match. Somebody's got to light it up. And we never found that Saturday. Because that's the only thing to do. And you're right. I mean, it's not like, hey, let me come over here and draw this play, and this is what's going to get us out of this. No, that's not it. It's the game plan that we practice. We got to execute it. But when it really comes down to it, whether it's a tackle for loss, sack, balls in the air, ball on the ground, get it out, somebody has to make a play to spark the whole unit or the whole team. And we never found that. And that's what's got to happen. That's the only thing to get you out of it.